Today we're going to dig into a really powerful idea from James Allen's classic, As a Man Thinketh. It's an idea that gets right to the heart of how we direct our lives, the crucial link between our thoughts and our purpose.
You know that feeling, right? Maybe it's a whole day, maybe it's a whole week, where you just feel scattered. You're being pulled in a dozen different directions, just reacting to every little thing that pops up. It's this really common, really draining feeling of just being adrift.
Well, James Allen had this incredible metaphor for this exact feeling. He called it the drifting bark of thought. A bark is just an old sailing ship. So picture this boat out on the huge ocean of life, but it has no rudder, no captain, and absolutely no destination. It's just at the mercy of every single current, every gust of wind. That, he says, is what a mind without purpose is like.
And what's so fascinating is how Allen talks about this. He doesn't see aimlessness as, just a passing phase or a minor inconvenience. No, he calls it a vice, a destructive habit. And why? Because a mind that just drifts becomes this easy target for worry, for fear, for self-pity. This mental drift, it isn't harmless. It's actually slowly chipping away at our inner strength.
So, in this explainer, we are going to chart a new course. First, we're going to really understand the hidden cost of that mental drift. Then, we'll see how having a single, clear purpose can bring amazing clarity and make everything so much simpler. And finally, you're going to walk away with one simple, daily practice to help you stay right on course.
All right, let's start by looking a little closer at the core problem here, the aimless mind, and what actually happens when our thoughts are just left untethered.
This is really the central argument. Until our thoughts are hooked up to a clear purpose, no real intelligent accomplishment is even possible. You can think of your mental energy kind of like scattered sunlight. It's warm, it's there, but it doesn't really do much. Purpose is like a magnifying glass that focuses all of that light, all of that energy onto a single point, creating enough heat to actually start a fire. Without that focus, our thoughts just, poof, they dissipate. So, if aimlessness is the problem, the solution is pretty clear, right? We've got to consciously link our thinking to a defined purpose. But what does that actually look like in real life? This really lays out the two paths we can take. On one side, you have the life of drift. It's vulnerable to worry and fear, and it basically makes you a victim of your circumstances. But on the other side, a life guided by a central purpose builds strength and self-control. You're not a victim anymore. You actually become the master of your conditions. Even something like failure totally changes its meaning. It's no longer a dead end. It just becomes a pathway, a stepping stone to your goal. Having a purpose like this builds a really crucial psychological anchor. It doesn't just give you a destination on a map. It fundamentally changes how you navigate the entire journey. It becomes your internal compass, your true North Star for every single decision you make. So here's the absolute key takeaway. A clear purpose acts as a super powerful filter. Think about it. When you know what you're aiming for, it becomes incredibly simple to say yes to the things that move you closer and no to the things that don't. This saves a massive amount of mental energy. You're not debating 100 different options anymore. You're just asking one simple question. Does this align with my purpose? Okay, so this philosophy is over 100 years old. How do we make it practical and, actionable for today? Well, we can actually bridge Allen's wisdom with a really modern psychological idea called identity-based habits.
This is the key shift. Instead of focusing on an outcome, like I want to get a promotion, you focus on an identity. The whole question changes. It becomes, who do I need to become to achieve my goals? And this is so much more powerful because our actions naturally flow from our sense of who we are. We do what we do because of the person we believe ourselves to be.
Let's make this real. Take a work example. Your goal isn't just to finish the project. Your purpose is to embody the identity of a disciplined professional. See the difference? When that's your identity, you don't have to force yourself to meet deadlines or organize your tasks. It's just what a disciplined professional does. The decision's already made. Or how about in relationships? Your goal isn't just to have a better conversation. Your identity is I am a present and attentive partner. A person with that identity just naturally puts their phone away during dinner. They listen, they engage. The action becomes an expression of who they are, not some chore on a to-do list. And this works for personal habits too. Instead of thinking, I need to go to the gym, the identity is I am a healthy, energetic person.
And what does a healthy person do? They move their body, they choose food that nourishes them. Each small action isn't about fighting for willpower, it's about casting a vote for the person you are becoming.
And this brings us right back to Alan's core message. When your thoughts are fearlessly tied to this kind of purpose, this identity, they stop being that passive drifting boat, and they become an active, creative force that literally shapes your reality.
Okay, now let's turn this powerful insight into a daily practice. I like to call it the alignment reset. It's a super simple way to consciously link what you're doing day to day with your larger purpose.
It's incredibly simple. Before you start a task or before you make a decision, just pause. Take one single deep breath, then ask yourself that really powerful question. Does this align with the person I am working to become? And finally, based on your answer, just make one small adjustment. That's it. Maybe you tackle the harder task first. Maybe you put your phone on silent for an hour. It's a tiny course correction that keeps you sailing in the right direction. So, as we start to bring this explainer to a close, let's just quickly summarize the path from that aimless drifting to a life of purposeful direction.
So here are the key things to remember. First, aimlessness is the root of that mental weakness and drift. Second, a clear central purpose is the ultimate tool for simplifying your life and building strength. Third, to make that purpose stick, frame it as an identity, who you want to become. And finally, just know that every single small, aligned action you take helps build that identity, brick by brick. You really are the master of your thought. So I'll leave you with this question. What one small choice will you make today to become the person you want to be? In our next explainer, we're going to explore the thought factor in achievement. You can find the entire series in the playlist linked below. Thanks for being here.